What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And today I'm going to tell y'all exactly the reason why I think that the Polestar 2, the performance version of the Polestar 2, is not worth your time. Now, if you're someone who's electric vehicle shopping, you probably already compared it to the first one, the most popular one, the Tesla. You probably got neighbors who got it, or maybe you've test driven it. And if you've driven the performance version or even just a dual motor version of a Tesla, then that's kind of like your standard. It's kind of like, for me, that's what I compared everything to as far as electric cars. Now, when it comes to the Polestar 2, the performance version, right off the back, underwhelmed by the amount of power. First off, when you get the name Polestar, Polestar has already been like a performance division vehicle before they officially joined with Volvo. I'm not sure exactly the parameters when they joined with Volvo, but I remember Polestar used to make performance cars before Polestar was exclusively electric like it is now, because they had like the Polestar S60 or something like that, and that was like a performance vehicle. And now Polestar is exclusively electric, so I guess my standards are kind of set up. They kind of set the bar kind of high. And then when I got in the Polestar 2 performance, dual motor, you look at the specs on paper is like 430 horsepower for the performance version. And then on paper, the torque is like 500 and over 500 foot-pounds of torque. And, that kind of sets your standard of what to expect for that vehicle. And I got to say, honestly, it's underwhelming the way that the power feels. Like the way that the power feels compared to what you really get. I feel like there's like a lot of delay as far as the immediate acceleration. So you got the immediate acceleration, which is a problem, as well as you got the range. The range on that vehicle sucks. Like, for the price, the vehicle, first off, it's more expensive than the Teslas. All right, you could get a Tesla Model 3 dual motor for the same price, but you get way better acceleration. You get a little bit better range. That thing only comes with a max of 230 miles. That's like the base battery for the Model 3. Like 200, like under 300 miles, because when you get the dual motor extended battery version, for the Tesla, you get at least get like 300 something miles. You get like 300, close to 400 miles. That's still not that great, but still, that's better than 260 or whatever. And then for that one's like the extended version. That's like the top of the tip version, and you only get 260 miles on a full charge. That ain't nothing. I mean, unless you're gonna be going to charge and make sure you connect to all chargers. I guess the good thing about it is that you can go to a lot more chargers as opposed to like Tesla. Unless you got like a special adapter, you can only charge your vehicle at Tesla. So that kind of sucks. But as far as continue on with the Polestar 2, the Polestar 2 is just underwhelming the amount of the acceleration. The acceleration feels like it's delayed. It doesn't give you that, like, electric vehicles are known for having that instant torque. This vehicle, you don't get the instant torque. So that's like a real big letdown as far as that. Because, it's kind of like the standard. Like I said, the Tesla Model 3, Y, S, those are all like kind of like the standard. Then when you get inside the Polestar 2, like the acceleration is like, it's a big letdown because of our expectations for what you're supposed to get. Now, another thing is going to be the interior. The interior of that vehicle is it's really basic, but at the same time, I'm not real picky or anything, but it's got like these like I don't know, like vegan materials or whatever. It's like some of the material inside that thing is kind of like it looks almost like a little cheap carpet or something like that. I mean that's not a big deal, but it's so light. I feel like stains. Like if you got a dirty hand, like just you touch the ground, you touch that, man, it's destroyed. And the girl who did touch that with me talking about, oh, you just wipe it off with a rag. I'm like, this is cloth. Like who? I'm like, who you fooling? You can't just wipe this off. You better call the Dr. Steam Cleaner to get this thing cleaned up, because as soon as you let your kids anywhere near this car, it's destroyed. The interior is destroyed. It's murked. It's done. But that vehicle, I mean, on an aesthetic kind of thing, I like the fact that it's different, looks different from like the Tesla Model 3. The Model 3 is like its closest comparison as far as electric cars. But the exterior looks a little bit better. It looks a little bit more masculine compared to the Model 3. But other than that, it ain't too great. I mean, like, granted, it does have a smoother ride because, like they said, that it shares the same chassis as like the XC60 or something like that, which is like a little small little SUV, which then makes sense. I would expect it to have like a chassis of a four-door sedan, but they said to give it a better, smoother ride and stuff like that. But that tells you that there ain't gonna be no performance kind of thing in there. That means no performance driving like that. So it's called the Polestar 2 performance, but yet you ain't gonna be able to feel like you driving performance. The performance on the acceleration is delayed Like you hit the throttle down all the way, and you don't feel that hard acceleration until you push it down all the way. Then you're like, woo, like, oh, oh, and I was like, oh, I mean, I was in the tester. I was like, oh, there's the power. Like 10 minutes already in the video. I was like, oh, there's the power. I was wondering. I was like, oh, this thing does get up. Cause I thought it wasn't gonna get up. I was like, man, where's that instant torque at? It seemed like the instant torque was not even there. But but to not go on digressing too much, the interior, the screens were kind of underwhelming. It does everything you would expect, all the Android, all the Google Play and all that stuff. Hey Google, do this, search that and all that stuff. That's kind of expected these days. That's not maybe 10 years ago that would have been a wow factor, but now these days, especially since Tesla's been rocking that big old iPad screen for over 10 years now. For over 10 years they had that big screen, and now Polestar 2 talking about they got the screen too, but it's not even as big. It's smaller than the Model 3 screen. It's smaller than the Model S screen. It's smaller than the Model Y screen. It's a smaller screen. I mean, it's kind of like almost like an Android screen compared to like an iPad screen. It's a decent size, but it don't got that same effect as when you hop into Tesla. I mean, granted, the Tesla does have one screen, and this one had like three screens. Like one screen there, and then one like at the dashboard. So I guess that's one pro. It had multiple screens, but still, it wasn't too much wow effect. It wasn't too wowing in it. The seats, they weren't adjustable or nothing like that. I mean, for being more expensive, I expected to have that performance je ne sais quoi. Now, I will say the exterior and the interior did have a little bit of styling too. I did like the yellow seat belts that it came with, and I liked the yellow brake calipers, the little yellow touches that it had. But other than that, everything else that come with it is kind of to be expected, with the little glass moonroof and stuff like that. But just for them to call it the performance, they need to change the performance from performance to just like uh, maybe call it the Polestar 2 Plus or something. Don't call it performance because it's not a very performancey car at all. I mean, like, unless if you've never driven any real performance cars and you're like, whoa, oh yeah, this is a great performance car, buddy. Yeah. Ugh. I mean, I could get it. Maybe that guy or that girl would think like that. But like, for someone who's actually driven a lot of performance cars, if you've driven, you know what a performance car is supposed to drive. It's supposed to handle good. It's supposed to feel like the name performance. It doesn't live up to the name performance at all. Without digressing too much, uh, hopefully this video was useful for y'all. Make sure y'all subscribe because I also did a review of the Lucid Air. I test drove that thing. That thing is twice the car that the Pulsar 2, and it's twice the price too. So it better be twice the car. But at least I can say the Lucid, that I did the Lucid Air Grand Tour. So that's just below the Grand Tour performance. The same trim is that the performance is like actually a boost in the horsepower. So it had 880 horsepower and that thing moved. And the only thing, like I said, I'm gonna bounce around a little bit, but compare like the performance version of the Lucid Air Grand Touring had 808 horsepower, and then the performance version has 1,020 horsepower. Right? You see that? That jump from when you get the name performance. The Polestar 2, the regular one is like 408, 403 horsepower, or something like that. And then the performance one is another 25 horsepower, 425 horsepower. How you gonna call that performance when you giving somebody 25 extra? You get an extra 25 horsepower, buddy. What you gonna do with that? That's like putting a cold air intake on a car. You ain't feeling nothing. That ain't nothing. You feel like a little, woo. You basically nothing. All right. Make sure you also tune for my other videos that got coming out. The brand new Jeep Wrangler 2024 version with the redesigned interior just came out. I'll be doing videos of that as well as a whole bunch of other top material. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.